Alright guys, what we're going to try to do is go through some of the steps to create the base, which will ultimately have your shapes mounted to it. And those shapes are going to be mounted down in this hole so that it appears that they're coming out like that. Okay. In order to do this, we're going to start with an 8x10 piece of foam board. We're also going to need an 8x10 piece of cardboard, and we're going to need an oval template. Now the template is something that I made with this ingenious little device that is a piece of foam board with two nails placed in it along a horizon line. The length of the string that goes between these two nails will determine how wide and how long your oval is. And in order to trace, you put your pen in such a way that it extends the string as far as it will go, and then you don't do that, you just trace all the way around. And what I did in order to transfer this shape onto here was I flipped this over, put this piece of tag board on the back, and did the same thing to draw out my shape. So here we have a template that we're going to be using to draw on your foam board. So we're going to draw the piece on the black. I'm using a pen which makes a pretty nice precise line, and it also puts a little indent in there which will be helpful when you're trying to cut it out. It gives it a little track for the X-Acto knife to sort of ride in. It's pretty hard to see, but it's there. While we're at it, we're going to go ahead and trace the same oval on the piece of cardboard. As you trace, you want to hold it down pretty firmly so it doesn't slide around on you. And one of the trickier parts is just moving so you can access the other side without slipping the template. All right. So now we're going to cut it out. And I want to show you that you want a really sharp X-Acto knife in order to really do this well. I'm going to show you one here that is not very sharp. Let me give you a little more contrast. See if you can see the end of that thing. You can see that it's kind of squared off. That makes it much more difficult to cut. You're going to want a blade that has a really sharp point on it, like this one. If the blade appears to be dull, you're just going to grab the textured part of the X-Acto knife and spin the shaft of the X-Acto knife, and then sometimes you kind of need to push this way to pop it loose, and then you'll take the blade, and before you dispose of it, you want to put it in a piece of masking tape. Fold the masking tape over the sharp edge so that nobody gets any surprises when they're taking out the trash. Okay, so we've got a nice sharp X-Acto knife, and we're going to first just really lightly pierce that top layer. You don't want to try to cut through all the way. Just pierce through that top layer. I'm going down maybe a 1/16 of an inch through the top. All right, now that I've gone all the way around, just going through the very top 1/16 or 1/8 inch, now I can go, and I'm basically just riding in the track that I created, but I'm applying a little more pressure this time. And I may or may not be getting all the way through. You don't need to get all the way through on the second pass. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 passes. As you go around, you want to be really conscious of keeping the knife at a 90-degree angle to the edge of the circle. In other words, you don't want to cut an angle. You want it to be straight up and down as you make your cuts. We're going to do the exact same thing on the piece of cardboard, but not right now. You'll notice on the template I've drawn a circle and I've drawn a larger oval. The circle is where we're going to place the cutout on the final piece where your shapes are going to be mounted. You may want to put that directly in the center. You may want to put it a little off center and to the top, off to one side or the other. That's really up to you. That's one of your first sort of design considerations. I decided to put mine a little off center and up to the left because I kind of like the way that looks. Some of you are going to be adding some stuff to this base, but we'll talk about that later. What you don't want to do is locate your circle any further out than this oval. Now this oval is drawn 3/4 of an inch in from the edge. If we have that circle too close to the edge, this is going to get really thin and it's not going to be very stable. So you can locate this circle anywhere inside this inside oval. The next step, once you've decided where you want to locate it, is to cut that circle out. And that'll be in the next video.